So the next topic what we have to discuss, so interfaces. So keep subheading interfaces. Interface. So what is agenda for interfaces? The most valuable concept, especially for interview room. Okay, this one, make sure you people should have clarity. So the first I will discuss, so introduction. What is interface? So introduction part I will discuss, and then interface declaration. Sir, how to declare interface? Interface declaration and implementation. Interface declaration and implementation is the second one. Interface declaration and implementation. Next, the third point, do you know, sometimes we can use extends keyword, sometimes we can use implements keyword. So where we can use extends and where we can use implements? Extends, okay, extends versus implements. Extends keyword and implements keyword. Extends versus implements. And then we can go for, so we have to perform postmortem on interface methods. And after completing interface methods, we should go for interface variables. What is the purpose of interface variable? Which modifiers applicable for interface variables, like we have to discuss. Interface methods, interface variables. And then interface naming conflicts. Interface naming conflicts. Interface naming conflicts. Naming conflicts. In the first one, method naming conflicts. Method naming conflicts. Second one, variable naming conflicts. Method naming conflicts. Second one, variable naming conflicts. Variable naming conflicts. Method naming conflicts, variable naming conflicts. Variable naming conflicts. Okay, and then we can go for the most valuable concept for the interview room, marker interface. Marker interface. And then we can talk about adapter classes. Marker interface, adapter classes. And then we can talk about, so next point is a very important. Marker interface is an important question for the interview room. Next one, sir, we have three components are there. Interface is there, concrete class is there, abstract class is there. When we should go for interface, when we should go for abstract class, when we should go for concrete class. Interface versus abstract class. Interface versus abstract class versus concrete class. Interface versus abstract class versus concrete class. Concrete class. And then we can think about differences between interface and abstract class. The most valuable question for the interview room. Interfaces, differences between interfaces and abstract class. Interface and abstract class. And then we can talk about various important conclusions, right? That's all. So this is the agenda. What we are going to discuss, the part of interfaces. The most valuable concept, especially for interview room. Okay, the most valuable concept. Make sure you people should have clarity. So among all, sir, which are very important for the interview room, do you know? This one is the most valuable point. What is the marker interface? What is the need of marker interface? So can you give an example for marker interface? Is it possible to create our own marker interface? Like, there are several things related to marker interface we have to discuss. and then we can go for differences between interfaces and abstract classes. Differences between interface and abstract class. So the most valuable, especially these things. Okay, completed, right? So now let me start. Let me talk about introduction first. Keep subheading introduction. Introduction, right? Okay, sir, can you tell here, this is one area where most of the times interview person may not satisfy with our answer. Can you define what is an interface? Can you define what is an interface? Yeah, what is interface? Can you define? Collection of only abstract methods. Any other? Can you define what is an interface? Yes, which contain only abstract methods. All. So is it the definition for interface? Can you define what is an interface? Ayo. Contract between. So I hope you people may heard. It is a requirement specification. Have you heard anywhere? Interface is nothing but one requirement specification. So any requirement specification is nothing but an interface. Have you heard anywhere this one? No. Have you heard anywhere contract between client and service provider, or client and service provider is an interface? Have you heard anywhere 100% pure abstract class? Ayo, all these are various definitions for the interface. In different perspective, different definitions are there. Can you define what is an interface? Okay, all possible definitions I will cover. At last, summary definition I will keep, so that interview person expected what should be there in our definition, definitely should satisfy with our answer. Keep subheading. Definition 1. Here listen. So any service requirement specification, sir, any requirement specification by default considered as an interface. Are you getting? Any service requirement specification is by default considered as an interface, right? Okay, this say, sir, what is service requirement specification? Sir, can you give an example? I will give one or two example so that you people can aware first at this point. Any service requirement specification, any service requirement specification within bracket SRS. Any service requirement specification, SRS, service requirement specification. Any service requirement specification within bracket SRS is considered as an interface. Okay, now observe the point well. Okay, make sure you people should have clarity. Any service requirement specification by default considered as an interface, right? Sir, can you give an example for this? Like, do you know, sometime you people may aware JDBC API. Okay, as per JDBC specification, this word is a very common word. I hope you may heard while learning JDBC. As per JDBC specification, like, sir, JDBC API acts as requirement specification to develop database driver. Sir, Oracle driver is there. Oracle people implemented which interface is JDBC API. Sir, so MySQL driver is there. MySQL people implemented JDBC API, right? Any requirement specification by default considered as what? An interface. JDBC API acts as requirement specification to develop database driver. Who is the responsible to implement this JDBC API? Database vendor. Best example, sir, Oracle vendor developed, implemented this API, such a type of driver is nothing but what? Oracle driver. Next, sir, MySQL people implemented, so such a type of driver is by default considered as MySQL driver. Are you getting? Next, DB2, IBM people implemented, such type of driver is by default considered as DB2 driver. Are you getting? Who is responsible to define this interface, right? Who is the responsible to define? Some people defined this requirement specification. Database vendor is responsible to provide implementation, right? I have one doubt, Anna. Here, see, what is this I? What is the I? Application programming interfaces. Are getting? So this is JDBC specification. So who is the responsible to implement? Database vendor is the responsible to implement. Are you able to understand? Any requirement specification by default considered as an interface, right? Who is the responsible to define JDBC API? Some people. Who is the responsible to implement JDBC API? Database vendor is the responsible, right? Are you able to understand? Okay, at example 1. Example 1, JDBC API acts as requirement specification. JDBC API acts as requirement specification. JDBC API acts as requirement specification. To develop database driver. Next, database vendor is responsible to implement. Database vendor is responsible to implement this JDBC API. To implement JDBC API. Okay, that's all. Take this example, Anna. Take this example anyway. Yeah, some people responsible to develop JDBC API, responsible to define JDBC API. Database vendor is responsible to implement database, okay, to develop their own driver classes. I hope is clear for you. Completed, right? Okay, JDBC API, Oracle driver, MySQL driver, DB2 driver, like. Next one, here see this point also well. Observe this terminology, right? Now, do you know, you people may heard about servlet API. Have you heard about this one, right? Servlet API. Okay, do you know, as per servlet specification is nothing but what? Servlet API. Who is the responsible to implement servlet API? Web server vendor. Sir, Apache people implemented. Their server is by default considered as Tomcat server. Are you getting? Apache people implemented. Their server is by default considered as Tomcat, right? Next, sir, BEA people implemented. Now BEA acquired by Oracle. Oracle people implemented. Is nothing but their server is by default considered WebLogic server. Sir, immediately you may ask one doubt. WebLogic server is the application server. How it is going to implement servlet API? Inside every application server, inbuilt web server is there. Even in the WebLogic web server is there. Okay, that web server is responsible to implement servlet API, right? Now, IBM people are responsible, okay, to implement, and their server is by default considered as what? WebSphere server. Their server is by default considered as what? WebSphere server. Are you able to understand? Okay, who is the responsible to define the servlet API? Some people, right? So now observe, servlets API acts as specification to develop web server. Who is the responsible to implement this one? Web server vendor is responsible to implement servlet API, right? Best example, suppose I developed one web application, I deploy on the Tomcat, it's working properly. Tomorrow I want to deploy that application in the WebLogic. Is it going to work or not? Yes. So day after tomorrow I want to deploy that in the WebSphere. Is it going to work or not? Yes. The application which run on Tomcat, how the WebLogic people can provide support or WebSphere people can provide support, because all these people implement common requirement specification, right? Regarding this one acts as requirement specification to develop web server vendor. Web server, right? Who is the responsible to implement? Web server vendor is responsible to implement. Do you know servlet API? Can I spell out what is this I? Interface. Regarding servlet API acts as requirement specification to develop web server. Is it clear, right? Okay. Add example 2. Example 2. Servlet API acts as requirement specification. Servlet API acts as requirement specification. Requirement specification to develop web server. Next, web server vendor is responsible. Web server vendor is responsible to develop, to implement. Web server vendor is responsible to implement servlet API. Web server vendor is responsible to implement servlet API. Okay, take this example, take this diagram. I hope are you able to understand, right? Any requirement specification, sir, JDBC specification, JDBC API, servlet API, servlet specification, right? Any requirement specification by default acts as, okay, I hope is that clear for all of you. Any requirement specification, okay, acts as an interface. Any requirement specification by default acts as an interface. Completed, right? Okay, clear for you people. Anyway, now the next one, can I complete it, right? Okay, this is the definition 1. What is an interface? Any requirement specification by default considered as an interface, right? Next, definition 2. Definition 2. Definition 2. Okay, here just observe, this one is also a bit important. Sir, one client came. Sir, one client came. Sir, I have some requirement is there. Okay, boss, I want one college automation system. One college people came. I want a college automation system where these services I want. Get attendance is one service. Get attendance, get marks, update marks, update marks. Next, like this is set of 100 services I want. Boss, this is my requirement specification. Anyone interested to provide implementation for this? Are you getting anyone interested to provide implementation for this? Like the client came up with some requirement specification, right? Then immediately some service provider, assume that some service provider, okay, he told, yes boss, I'm going to provide implementation for all your requirements, no problem at all. Like one service provider gave the contract, signed on the contract, and they implemented, right? Are you getting? From client point of view, of course the set of, this is the requirement specification, which is nothing but what? Interface, right? Boss, these are the services what I want. If any person interested to implement these services, you require to provide implementation, right? From client point of view, an interface define the set of services what is expecting. Boss, I'm expecting these are 10 services or 100 services, like client is going to tell. Yes, one service provider came, boss, I can implement. Service provider point of view, an interface define the set of services what is offering. Are you getting that? Boss, these are the services what I'm going to offer for you. Okay, like service provider point of view, an interface define the set of services what is offering. From client point of view, an interface define set of services what is expecting. The contract between client and service provider is by default considered as what? An interface, right? Are you able to understand? Okay, this is any contract between client and service provider is by default considered as an interface, right? Are you able to understand? Suppose best example, you people came here, sir, I want to attend a CJP class. Then immediately the fee 3,000 like you are going to pay, and these people are going to provide, sir, as a part of a CJP, what topics you are going to cover. Is nothing but immediately these people are going to give the brochure. So how many topics are there? Around 20 topics are there. That is the contract between Durga Soft and yourself. Yes, for your whatever the fee, whatever the course you register, Durga Soft people are responsible to provide implementation for those 20 topics. Are you getting right? Those 20. Sir, if I covered only 10 topics, but I didn't cover 10 topics, you may not accept. Are you getting? So we are not following the contract. Okay, this is 20 topics I should complete. Is nothing but that. So any contract between client and service provider is by default considered as what? An interface, right? So these are the services what I'm expecting. These are the services what I'm going to offer. Is nothing but this contract between client and service provider is by default considered as what? Interface concept, right? Are you able to understand? First, at this point, add definition 2. From client point of view, client point of view, an interface defines, from client point of view, an interface defines the set of services. An interface defines the set of services what he is expecting. The set of services what he is expecting. Next para. From service provider point of view, an interface defines, from service provider point of view, an interface defines the set of services. An interface defines the set of services what he is offering. The set of services what he is offering. Set of services what he is offering. Hence any contract between client and service provider. Any contract between client and service provider is considered as, any contract between client and service provider is considered as an interface. Any contract between client and service provider is considered as an interface. Okay, that's all. Are you able to understand that? Okay, this is. Now just observe this terminology well. Okay, this point is also a bit important conclusion for you people, right? What is the point here is observe. Sir, assume it is bank ATM GUI screen. Bank ATM GUI screen like. Sir, can you tell what is this one, Anna? GUI, graphical user interface. Boss, this is. So on the in the bank ATM GUI screen, which things will be there? Okay, yeah, can you please withdraw? Can you get a mini statement? Next, and after that, balance inquiry. Okay, dot. Sir, ATM GUI screen represents the set of services what customer expecting. Correct or not? Boss, these are the services what I am expecting. At the same time, so this GUI screen represent the set of services what the bank people are providing. Okay, through ATM, these are the services. This is the contract between customer and a bank person, right? Suppose here I swipe the card, I'm trying to withdraw, I enter 10,000 rupees money, I want. Now the processing happen, counting is happening internally. Suddenly the power gone, something happened, so I didn't get the money. Then immediately what I have to do? What you people are going to do? So suddenly got stuck in the middle your request, but you got message saying yes, 10,000 got debited from your account. You got the message, but you didn't get that 10,000 rupees. So what you have to do? Immediately you will make a phone call to bank people, customer care people, saying, boss, so and so ATM. Okay, this is I send a request for 10,000. But anyway, I didn't get 10,000, but in the account already debited. Like, what's about my situation? Like, is nothing but you can make a call. Then what the response from the bank people? What response from the? Is the bank people are responsible for this issue or not? Yes, immediately bank people are going to tell, sir, within 24 hours, your money automatically will be credited to your account. Not required to worry. If it is not going to be happen, we are responsible. You can contact your home branch. Then we will do the required things, right? Okay, this is, sir, like is nothing but this kind of thing, because they are offering this service. If something goes wrong, they are responsible to provide. Is nothing but correction, right? Are you able to understand? Because it's a contract between bank and customer. Okay, like suppose tomorrow what I will do? I will go to the bank. To deposit my account. Assume that this ATM center not having any deposit capability. I kept in cover 10,000 rupees, and my account number, account name I kept. I hold on this ATM machine, I kept there, and then I came back. Tomorrow you went. In your account, that 10,000 not credited. Then immediately you are making a phone call to the bank people, saying, boss, yesterday on your ATM machine, I kept 10,000. Even I wrote my account number also, but not yet deposited into my account. Then, if the bank people are responsible for this issue or not? No, why you kept, man? Okay, they say, am I providing anywhere I'm going to offer this kind of service? No, that is, you are assuming that service is available. No, bank people are not offering this kind of service. Are you getting? Only these are the services what we are going to offer. If anywhere problem is there in these services, let us know. Definitely we are going to provide the solution for that. Are you getting? The contract between client and service provider is by default considered as what? An interface, right? Are you able to understand? Boss, this is the services. This is the set of services what I'm going to offer. This is the set of services what I'm expecting. That contract between client and service provider is by default considered as what? An interface, right? Are you able to understand? So by GUI screens we can provide this set of services, right? Okay, at this point. Yeah, example. Through bank ATM GUI screen, through bank ATM GUI screen, bank ATM GUI screen, bank people are highlighting the set of services what they are offering. Bank people are highlighting the set of services what they are offering. At the same time, the same GUI screen represents. The same GUI screen represents the set of services. The same GUI screen represents the set of services represents the set of services, the set of services what customer is expecting, what customer is expecting, what customer is expecting, hence this GUI screen acts as, hence this GUI screen acts as, this GUI screen acts as contract between, this GUI screen acts as contract between customer and bank people, contract between customer and bank people, contract between customer and bank people, contract between customer and bank people. That's all. Completed, right? Okay, take this example. Take this example. Okay, so make sure you people should aware. So this is the definition 2. Some withdraw, mini statement, balance inquiry, like whatever the services we have. So any requirement specification is an interface, or any contract between client and service provider is an interface. Any contract between client and service provider is an interface. Are you able to understand, right? This is the second definition 2. Next, definition 3. Definition 3. Definition 3. Okay, here see, I hope you people may aware, sir, inside interface every method is always, inside interface every method is always abstract. Inside interface every method is always abstract. So hence interface is also considered as 100% pure abstract class. 100% pure abstract class is nothing but interface. Sometimes in our textbooks also this type of line you can able to say, sir, inside interface everything is abstract, every method is abstract. That's why 100% pure abstract class is nothing but interface, right? Okay, at this point, inside interface every method is always abstract. Inside interface every method is always abstract. Inside interface every method is always abstract, whether we are declaring or not. Every method is always abstract whether we are declaring or not. Hence interface is considered as, interface is considered as 100%. Interface is considered as 100% pure abstract class. Interface is considered as 100% pure abstract class. Interface is considered as 100% pure abstract class. Okay, that's all. So can you tell what is an interface? This is the definition 3. So what is the first definition we covered? Can I spell out? Please cross check. What is the first definition? Any service requirement specification is nothing but interface. What is the second definition we covered? Any contract between client and service provider is nothing but interface. What is the third one? 100% pure abstract class is nothing but interface, right? So do you know, if the interview person is asking, can you define what is an interface? Then you told any service requirement specification is called interface. But interview person expecting 100% pure abstract class is nothing but interface, then he may not satisfy with your answer. If you are telling 100% pure abstract class is nothing but interface, then his expectation may be any contract between client and service provider is nothing but an interface. That's why. So sometimes, most of the times, mismatch is there in your answer is expected answer. Maybe a chance is nothing but he may not be convinced with our answer. Then what I can do, what we can do here, keep all these definitions into a single definition and tell definitely is expected what by default will be there. He should be convinced with our answer. Okay. So what is that summary definition? Right. Keep submitting. Summary definition. Summary definition. Summary definition. Okay. Under that add any service requirement specification. Any service requirement specification or any contract between client and service provider, or any contract between client and service provider, or 100% pure abstract class, 100% pure abstract class, or 100% pure abstract class is nothing but 100% pure abstract class is nothing but interface. 100% pure abstract class is nothing but interface. 100% pure abstract class is nothing but interface. Are you getting? Sir, can you tell what is an interface? Is nothing but, now the terminology is clear. 100% pure abstract class or any contract between client and service provider or any service requirement specification is nothing but an interface, right? So in the interview room, if any person is asking, can you define what is an interface? Happily you can tell the summary definition. Definitely is expected answer by default will be there in our statement. Yeah, is going to be convinced, right? Okay, that's all. So this is what is an interface, right? Okay. So the next one what we have to talk, interface declaration and implementation, right? So how to declare interface and how we can implement, just observe this point, right? Just I'm declaring here, just observe interface, listen, interface intra form taking, sir, interface intra form taking, here void m1 method and the void m2 method I am taking. Void m1, void m2. Like my interface contain how many methods are? 2 methods are there. Okay, like, sir, I want to provide implementation for these methods, right? If you want to provide implementation, what is the way? Here just observe class service provider, and some service provider came. Assume that one client came, boss, these are the two services my requirement. Anyone, can you please provide implementation? Like one client came up with some requirement, right? How many services is expecting? 2 services, right? M1 and M2. Now class service provider, okay, how he can implement an interface? By using which keyword? Implements. Class service provider implements interf. Class service provider implements interf. Okay, boss, I can provide implementation for your requirement, not required to worry. Like service provider trying to implement, now he is implementing void m1 like this, right? Okay, can you tell, is it valid way of implementing an interface? Ayo, is it a valid way of implementing an interface? Yes or no? No. How many mistakes I did? How many mistakes I did? Because every mistake itself is an important conclusion. How many mistakes we did? Is it 1 mistake or 2 mistakes or 3? How many mistakes I did? Because every mistake itself is an important question. If only one mistake, then I may not ask this question. How many mistakes I did, like? How many mistakes I did? Okay, 2 mistakes we did. Every mistake itself is an important conclusion, right? Make sure. Sir, here observe class service provider implements an interface. First mistake what we did? Okay, first mistake what we did? if you are implementing an interface, for each and every method of that interface, compulsory we should provide implementation. Sir, you are providing implementation only for M1. Where is M2 implementation? That's why. So compulsory we are doing some mistake. Let me repeat once again. If we are implementing an interface, for each and every method present in that interface, compulsory we should provide implementation. Otherwise declare class as abstract. Otherwise declare class as abstract. Then next level child classes responsible to provide implementation. That's why first mistake I'm trying to correct. Okay, let me declare class as what? Abstract. Now who is responsible to provide implementation for M2? Next level child class. Okay, first point is clear. Now the second mistake what I'm doing here, observe. Every method present inside interface is always public and abstract, whether we are declaring or not. Every method present inside interface is always public and abstract, whether we are declaring or not. Okay, this is whenever we are implementing an interface method, compulsory we should declare the method as public. Regarding because providing implementation for interface method is overriding rule. While overriding, we can't reduce scope of access modifier. Like there is some rule is there. Sorry, parent class method is the public. Compulsory child class method should be public. Are you getting? Sir, every interface method is always public, whether we are declaring or not. Hence, while implementing an interface method, compulsory we should declare method as public. Otherwise the code won't compile. Regarding compile method, by default we are going to get up to this is the clear for you, right? Okay, let me repeat once again, right here. Legend this one. Sir, I'm taking observe. Sir, I'm taking, so here just have a look once. Service provider dot java. Like now, one minute. I will show the mistakes what I did first, and then we can think about remaining, right? Here, see this one. Sir, interface void M1, void M2, class service provider implements interf. Class service provider implements interf. Okay. Now let me here say, let me compile. Java C service provider dot java. How many mistakes we did, Anna? How many mistakes we did? 2 mistakes. Have you observed? 2 compile time errors we are going to get. Okay. What the first one? First compile time error, right here. 2 errors we got. First error. Service provider is not abstract. Service provider is not abstract and does not override abstract method M2 in interf. Have you observed? Sir, you didn't provide implementation for M2 and you didn't declare class as abstract. Then how I can compile? Is nothing but like we are going to get. Sir, how I can correct this mistake? Can I tell what is the way? Declare class as abstract. Declare class as abstract. So then how many compile time errors I'm going to get now? Only one compile time error, right? Now observe this one. Yes, have you observed? Only one compile time error, right? What is that compile time error? M1 in service provider cannot implement M1 in interf, attempting to assign Waker access privileges was public. Regarding attempting to assign Waker access privileges was public. Now what I have to do? Declare this method as public. Regarding, can you tell if the code is valid or not? Yes, perfectly. The code compiles fine, there is no problem at all. Sir, now who is the responsible to provide implementation for M2 method? M2 method, child class, right? Now I am taking class subservice provider, extends service provider. Class subservice provider, extend service provider, curly brace open and close. Can you tell is it valid or invalid? Invalid, because whenever we are extending service provider, abstract method M2 compulsory we should provide implementation, but we are not providing, right? Now see, same compile time error we are going to get. Subservice provider is not abstract, is not abstract and does not override abstract method m2 in interf. This is the compile time error you are going to get. Then I have to take public void m2, public, compulsory public. Now is it valid or not? Yes, perfectly valid. There is no problem at all. Are you able to understand that? Okay, this is make sure you people should have clear clarity, right? Now I want to extend class sub service provider. Class sub service provider extends what? Service provider extends a service provider, and what we have to take public void m2 method, curly brace open and close is nothing but m2. Are you getting the point? Okay, this is, let me repeat once again the terminology, right? Whenever we are implementing an interface, compulsory for each and every method of that interface we should provide implementation, otherwise declare class as abstract. Then next level child class is responsible to provide implementation for the remaining methods. Next first conclusion, whenever we are implementing an interface method, compulsory we should declare that method public, otherwise compile time error we will get. What is the reason? You know, okay, at this point. Yeah, whenever first point, whenever we are implementing an interface, whenever we are implementing an interface for each and every method, whenever we are implementing an interface for each and every method of that interface, for each and every method of that interface we have to provide implementation. For each and every method of that interface we have to provide implementation. Otherwise we have to declare class as otherwise we have to declare class as abstract. Class as abstract. Then next level child class. Next level child class is responsible. Next level child class is responsible to provide implementation. Next level child class is responsible to provide implementation. Next level child class is responsible to provide implementation. That's all. Are you able to understand? Okay, this is the first one what you people should aware. Okay, this is next second point. Every interface method is always public and abstract. Every interface method is always public and abstract. Whether we are declaring or not. Hence, whenever we are implementing an interface method, compulsory we should declare as public. Otherwise we will get compile time error. That's all. Are you getting? So whenever we are implementing an interface, so what rules we have to consider? These two rules. We have to take care about each and every method implementation, and we have to take care every method should be declared as public, right? Okay, these two rules you should aware. Take this example first. Take from the screen. interface interrupt, take from the screen void m1, void m2. Next, abstract class service provider implements interrupt, abstract class service provider implements interrupt. Next, public void m1, public void m1, interrupt public void m1 like. Can I hope you people aware? Class subservice provider extends a service provider, public void m2, class subservice provider extends subservice provider, public void m2 like, public void m2 like this we have. Completed, right? That's all. These are the two. Make sure interface interrupt void m1, void m2, abstract class service provider implements interrupt, public void m1, class subservice provider extends service provider like. Have you completed, right? Okay. So from this, better to highlight here abstract, better to highlight abstract word. Next, highlight here public word, public, and better to highlight here also public. Are you getting? These rules compulsory, you people should aware. So how to declare interface, how we can provide implementation for interface, right? Next, keep subheading, extends versus implements, extends versus implements, extends versus implements, extends versus implements, versus implements, extends versus implements. Do you know here, make sure you should aware extends versus implements. Sir, extends, where we can use extends keyword, where we can use implements keyword. Don't get confused, seems to be simple, but most of the people are getting confusion. I don't know the reason. Take special care. Sir, a class can extend another class. Are you getting? A class can extend how many classes at a time? Only one class. Sir, class can extend only one class at a time. Class can implement how many interfaces at a time? Any number. Class A implements B, C, D like any number. Next, an interface can extend how many interfaces at a time? An interface can extend how many interfaces at a time? An interface can extend how many interfaces at a time? Sir, only one or any number. Our interface can't extend any other interface. Which one is the correct? An interface can extend any number of interfaces. Don't get confused. Most of the people are going to use interface can extend multiple interfaces. That's why Java provides support for multiple inheritance in interfaces. A chance to have this conclusion. You know, interface A, I'm taking interface A, interface B, interface A, interface B, interface C, extends A comma B, extends A comma B. Sir, can you tell, is it valid or not? Yes, this one is nothing but perfectly valid. An interface can extend any number of interfaces, no problem at all. Some people may use, sir, Java provides support for multiple inheritance in interfaces because of this syntax only, right? Okay, this sir, a class can extend how many classes at a time? Only one. An interface can extend how many interfaces at a time? Any number. A class can implement how many interfaces at a time? Any number. So class can extend and can implement simultaneously. Correct or not? Extends and implement simultaneously we can use, no problem at all. First add one by one. First one, a class can extend A class can extend. A class can extend only one class at a time. A class can extend only one class at a time. A class can extend only one class at a time. At a time. A class can extend only one class at a time. At a time. Second one. Second. An interface can extend. An interface can extend. An interface can extend any number of interfaces. An interface can extend any number of interfaces simultaneously. An interface can extend any number of interfaces simultaneously. An interface can extend any number of interfaces simultaneously. Simultaneously. Okay, take this point. Interface A, interface B, interface A, interface B. Next, interface C extends A comma B. Interface C extends A comma B. Interface C extends A comma B. Extends A comma B. A comma B. So give the tick mark. Next, valid. Third one. Sir, can you tell a class can implement how many interfaces at a time? A class can implement any number of interfaces at a time. Add. Third one. A class can implement any number of interfaces. A class can implement any number of interfaces simultaneously. A class can implement any number of interfaces simultaneously. Any number of interfaces simultaneously. Simultaneously. Next, fourth one. Simultaneously. Next, fourth. Sir, here observe. Class A extends B implements. Class A extends B implements C, D, E. Is it a valid syntax or not? Yes. A class can extend another class and can implement any number of interfaces simultaneously. No problem at all. Add. A class can extend another class. A class can extend another class. A class can extend another class. A class can extend another class and can implement. A class can extend another class and can implement any number of interfaces simultaneously. Any number of interfaces simultaneously. Any number of interfaces simultaneously. Simultaneously. Okay, take this one. Class A extends B. Example. Class A extends B implements C, D, E. Class A extends B implements C, D, E. Class A extends B C, D, E like C, D, E like this. I hope completed, right? Next point. Okay. Here the next thing a bit very important. Here see, up to these four we covered all valid combinations. A class can extend only one class at a time. An interface can extend any number of interfaces. A class can implement any number of interfaces. A class can extend and can implement simultaneously, like we covered. So all invalid combinations with a bit style I will explain. Take a bit form. Which of the following is true or is valid? Which of the following is valid? Which of the following is valid? Which of the following is valid? First one. A class can extend. A class can extend any number of classes at a time. A class can extend any number of classes at a time. A class can extend any number of classes at a time. Valid or invalid? Invalid. Second one. A class can implement only one interface at a time. A class can implement only one interface at a time. A class can implement only one interface at a time. Is it valid or invalid? Invalid, because a class can implement any number of interfaces. Third one. an interface can extend, an interface can extend, an interface can extend only one interface at a time. An interface can extend only one interface at a time. An interface can extend only one interface at a time. At a time. An interface can extend only one interface at a time. At a time. Fourth one. So is it a valid or invalid? Invalid. Next. An interface can implement. An interface can implement any number of interfaces simultaneously. An interface can implement any number of interfaces simultaneously. Any number of interfaces simultaneously. Can you tell, is it a valid or invalid? Invalid. Next. Invalid because interface can't implement. Next. A class can extend another class. A class can extend another class. A class can extend another class. A class can extend another class or can implement an interface. A class can extend another class or can implement an interface. Can implement an interface but not both simultaneously. A class can extend another class or can implement an interface but not both simultaneously. Is it valid or invalid? Invalid. But not both simultaneously. Invalid. Last one, none of the above. So which of the following is true? Which one is the true one? Last one, none of the above. Okay, because all valid combinations I covered, all invalid combinations also we covered in the form of bit. Okay, now what is the possibility to ask the question for the exam? Here see this one. Sir, I am taking, listen this point well. Sir, I am taking class, observe, class A. Sir, here 1 minute. What is the other possibility to ask the question? Okay, here see this one. X I am taking X extends Y. X extends Y. Sir, which of the following possibilities of X and Y? The above expression is true. Okay, for which of the following possibilities of X and Y, above expression is true? First option, both X and Y should be classes. Both X and Y should be classes. First one. Second one, both X and Y should be interfaces. Both X and Y should be interfaces. Second option. Third one, both X and Y can be either classes. Both X and Y can be either classes or interfaces. Both X and Y can be either classes or interfaces. Fourth one. So no restrictions, Anna. Anything you can take. Can you tell which one is the correct? First one or second one or third one or fourth one? Make sure. So first one, valid or invalid? Invalid. Because X extends Y. A class can extend another class or an interface can extend another interface. For class is possible, interface is possible. Both X and Y should be classes, means not applicable for interface. That's why. So this one is the wrong. Both X and Y should be interfaces. This one is also wrong. Both X and Y can be either classes or interfaces. Is it correct or not? Yes. Is nothing but like. Regarding sometimes maybe a chance to ask this type of questions also for the interview room or for the exam also. Take a bit style or question form. Consider the following expression. Consider the following expression. x extends y. Consider the following expression: x extends y. X extends y. Y. Better to take within box. Consider the following expression: x extends y. Take within the box. Are you getting? First one. This is within the box. And then, for which of the following possibilities of x and y? For which of the following possibilities of x and y? For which of the following possibilities of x and y the above expression is valid? For which of the following possibilities of x and y the above expression is valid? The above expression is valid. Valid. First one. Both x and y should be. Both x and y should be classes. Both x and y should be classes. Take all. Second one, both x and y should be interfaces. Both x and y should be interfaces. Both x and y can be either classes or interfaces. Fourth one, no restrictions. Both x and y should be either classes, or both x and y can be either classes or interfaces. So which one is the correct one? Third one. Give the tick mark for third. I hope is clear. There is a possibility to ask this type of question also for the exam. Completed, right? Okay. This is next one. Listen this point well. Okay. Here this is the first possibility we have. Now the second possibility. And listen, this point is also a bit important point. So I am taking x extends y comma z. X extends y comma z. I don't want to give any options. Directly the answer you have to tell. For which of the following, for which possibilities of x, y, z, this expression is true? X, y, z should be interfaces, right? Should be interfaces. It is applicable only for interface concept, right? Okay. Next, third one. X implements y comma z. X implements y comma z. Sir, can you tell what about x? X should be a class. Y should be y comma z. Y comma z should be interfaces, right? Y comma z should be interfaces. Okay, like a third one. Now the fourth, listen this point well. Fourth one, sir, x extends y. X extends y, implements z. X extends y, implement z. Can you tell what about x, y and z? X and y should be classes and z should be interface. Z should be interface. Okay. Next, the fifth one. X implements y. X implements y. Extends z. X implements y. Extends z. X implements y. Extends z. Sir, can you tell for which possibilities of x, y, z this expression is valid? Make sure this expression is always compile time error. What is the reason? You know, sir, if you want to use extends and implements, compulsory we have to take extends first and then interface next. We have to take extends first and then implements next. That's why, do you know, here compile time error? Because, what is the reason? We have to take, sir, we have to take extends first. We have to take extends first, followed by what? Interface. We have to take extends first followed by interface. Is it clear for all of you? Right? Okay, this at this point. Yeah, take the remaining also. First one you took already. Second, third, fourth, fifth, like. So maybe a chance to ask this type of possibilities, right? Take clearly. So this is about extends versus implements. Extends versus implements. Completed, I hope. Take all. Take clearly all possibilities, right? X extends y comma z. X, y, z should be interfaces. X implements y comma z. X is a class. Y comma z are interfaces. X is a class, y comma z are interfaces. Next, X extends y, implements z. X and y are classes. Z is an interface. Completed, I hope.